Warm greetings from the High 10. This is Everyday Shenanigans. Yes, back-to-back lives and content today. This content is pertaining to Uvalde. One of the shooting victims has been released from the hospital. I will also bring you commentary pertaining to the governor of Texas and more conversation pertaining to this horrible event that took place. Thank you for joining me.
The last thing before we go tonight, Maya Strong. There is still so much we do not know about the Uvalde school shooting and delayed response that led to the deaths of 19 school children and 2 adults. But tonight, we have some good news to share. After 66 long days in the hospital, the final shooting survivor, 10-year-old Maya Zamora, has been discharged. Maya arrived at University Health San Antonio on May 24th in critical condition. According to her family's GoFundMe page, she underwent numerous surgeries while at the hospital to help her recover from numerous injuries. University Health announced Maya's discharge on Twitter, saying this: "Today was a happy day at University Hospital. Our final patient from the Uvalde shooting, 10-year-old Maya Zamora, was discharged. She passed out roses and left in style, thanks to H-E-B grocery store. She is our hero, and we cannot wait to see all that she accomplishes in the future. Hashtag Maya Strong." They also posted the following video of her leaving the hospital. Please watch this.
Well, all right.
We are wishing Maya continued success in her recovery and her trip back home. Maya Strong is right.
All right, everybody, that's content number 1 pertaining to Miss Maya, who has been released from the hospital. Kudos to the nurses and staff that took care of her. And by the grace of God, she was able to survive her injuries and also be released from the hospital. Amen. That's a very long time to be in the hospital, but these things happen when you have to stay longer than anticipated. And so obviously she had serious injuries to have to be in a hospital that long, but God is good and able. He's a way maker, and he made a way for this young child, girl child, to survive and also be able to be released from the hospital. Amen. Blessings to Maya and her family, the community of Uvalde, the other parents who lost children, and wives, sisters, and of the teachers. Prayers to everyone in that community. Now, my next content is pertaining to Uvalde as well, so we're going to try to get to that. Thank you all so much for joining me. Let's see if I can get out of this menu to here we go. All right. Let's see what we got here. Okay. The next story is state of Texas. Uvalde killer didn't want to live anymore. Let's open that video and see what we have there. Thank you all so much for joining me.
Uvalde mass shooter told family he didn't want to live anymore and broke down just days before the killing that left 19 children and 2 teachers dead. Those details come from a family member. She's captured on police body camera video released earlier this month. Investigator Matt Grant has more on the revelations and red flags that were ignored.
Sorry about that.
An hour after law enforcement killed the Uvalde gunman. Police secure and search the home where he lived with and shot his grandmother, going room to room looking for evidence. Outside, you can hear a conversation between another officer and a woman who identifies herself as a relative of the gunman. While difficult to hear, the woman says she knew who was responsible as soon as she heard what happened, saying days before he broke down and told family he didn't want to live anymore. In the video, the woman appears not to know the gunman is dead. The Texas House Investigative Committee report into the shooting noted he was suicidal, detailing that between the gunman's 18th birthday on May 16th and the attack on the 24th, he expressed suicidal ideation to a cousin who talked to him and did not believe he was an imminent suicide risk. Prior to turning 18, he asked family to illegally buy guns for him. They refused. At the same time, he told family members about his suicidal thoughts. He legally bought 2 AR-15 style rifles, 60 magazines, and over 2,000 rounds of ammunition. When his grandparents and other family found out, the report states they demanded that the guns be removed from the home. None of this and other red flags were reported to law enforcement or the state suspicious activity reporting system known as iWatch. In the wake of the killing, Governor Abbott has called for the program, which tracks threats, to be expanded. Matt Grant, State of Texas.
Looking in depth, the nonprofit research center, The Violence Project, profiled 180 mass shooters since 1966. Their research found more than 70 of those shooters intended to die but were not previously suicidal. Nearly 60 were suicidal before the shooting. 50 of those mass shooters were not suicidal. There are new calls from Uvalde to bring lawmakers back to Austin for a special session. On Tuesday, Uvalde's city council passed a resolution urging the governor to make the call.
Is this going to happen? This special session is going to happen? I think not. And why do we have to ask for a special session? Why doesn't he take the initiative? We have to ask him. The citizens have to ask him to have a special session. Is that the type of person you want leading the state of Texas?
The resolution is similar to a recommendation made Monday by the Uvalde School Board. Both the school district and city leaders want lawmakers to consider raising the minimum age to buy an AR-15 style semi-automatic rifle to 21. The 18-year-old gunman who killed 19 children and 2 teachers legally purchased the semi-automatic rifle used in the May shooting. The spokesperson in the governor's office pointed out that Governor Abbott has called on lawmakers to start working on recommendations to make schools safer. In an interview this week, Abbott said some work is already underway.
Parents need to know that action has been taken by the Texas Education Agency, also by the Texas School Safety Center, the ALERT program, working with police, school districts, and local law enforcement to make sure that they're doing everything possible to make sure that our schools are safer. And then for kids need to know that the action is being taken to address schools, but there's something else for both parents and kids to know, and that is Texas has an expanded children mental health care program that is in our schools. In fact, it was adopted from leaders in the Lubbock area that make sure that we are doing a better job of providing more mental health care assessment and treatment for our kids in schools.
After the mass shooting, the governor issued a declaration in Uvalde. It helps speed up the process to bring the community resources, including access to mental health services. If lawmakers are not called back for a special session, the next legislative session starts next January.
It may be the most powerful position in Texas, and it's been in Republican hands for more than 2 decades. But a Democratic challenger is closing ground.
I stand for fixing the grid, public ed, honesty around property taxes, school safety.
All right.
Mike Collier faces a rematch against Lieutenant Governor Dan.
We're going to stop there. So a lot to chop up in this commentary. He wanted to kill himself. So who are the people who did not tell authorities? One relative or whoever didn't think he was taking it. He wasn't talking seriously. Well, it's a little late now because he did kill some people, some children and some teachers. So he was very serious about killing in general. Whether he killed himself in that room or not, or they took him down, they're saying they took him down. But nonetheless, he did kill innocent people, civilians. So he was serious about killing. And he possibly did want to die. Maybe he wanted them to shoot him. They say that a lot of mass murderers want to be killed during the gun battle, killing others. As you see, there was a nice looking home that he lived in with his grandparents. Decent looking. Wasn't squalor living. Took you inside. Did not look, dilapidated outside or inside or unsavory, let's say. So what was going on in that household? Why did these people notice that something was wrong with him? You hear this woman crying outside, wanting to know where he is. Who was that woman? The fact that she said a week or so ago, he said he wanted to kill himself. See, this is what I'm talking about. Other people now want to say what somebody said. It's too late now. It's too late now. Innocent children and grown-ups are dead. Teachers, he's dead. All we have are the children who survived that were in that classroom. Grace of God, no other officers were shot. But then many people probably don't give a damn about them because they're like, hell, you just sat in the hallway twiddling your thumbs for over an hour. And it's not to be facetious, but we're calling spade a spade. Those people, they left out of there alive and possibly were fearful of dying. But you weren't also a child in a room with a gunman, spewing nonsense, mumbling, shooting up classmates, children watching body parts flying around them. Let's keep it real. You know it had to have been horrific in that room. So you fear for your safety as an officer? Well, imagine being a child. Imagine being the teacher. So we have people now wanting to say he wanted to kill himself. No one called authorities, found him a counselor, nothing. The fact that he wasn't even in school should tell you something. That these people were not doing their job in rearing this grown person to 18. Because he was a child first. Went out with his grandmother to Applebee's allegedly. Yet she's the same one he shoots in the face. Why he didn't shoot the grandfather? So what was so horrible about the grandmother? Is all this over a phone? We know it can't be just about a cell phone service. Her wanting to cut his phone off, whatever. You were late, lady, trying to implement discipline, if that's what you were trying to do. Too late. He was already far gone. The fact that he wanted them to buy him illegal weapons. Them to purchase them illegally how? Through the internet, what? But yet he walks into a store and buys an AR-15. What about legislation? Are they going to change the state of Texas, other states? How many more stories are you going to keep having broadcast casualties? We understand this is a two-part situation. One is the mindset of the individual wanting to buy the gun. Two, easy access, and that's our state and national government regulating. And also the companies that make the heavy artillery. What's the need for heavy artillery? Just to walk around and safeguard your car. You don't need an AR-15 to safeguard your car, your house. You need a decent-sized handgun. Because first of all, you got to be able to get to the gun in case something pops off. And you don't know where, one, you're going to be in your house when something pops off. You don't know if you're going to be woke, sleep, tub, bathroom. You may not even be near your gun. Stay woke. So that means you would have to walk around every day on your persons in your own home with your gun. And naturally, thieves come in likely when people are asleep. So now you got to go reach for it under the bed, under the mattress, in a nightstand, in the closet. Oops, it ain't loaded. Oops, let me go load it. Oops, I'm half asleep. Stay woke now. What's going to change? And as I said, you can't change the mindset. What should be the legal age to purchase a weapon? Any choice of weapon. 18, 21, 25, what? Should there be legal wranglings in this? Should people have evaluations? Should we now have statewide evaluations before purchasing a gun? You have to go fill out a questionnaire, see a counselor, blah, 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 in order to be deemed fit to get a weapon. Maybe that's what we should do from now on. You know you want to buy a weapon, so we have new laws in place that you have to go see a licensed therapist, psychiatrist, whomever, get an evaluation, have several maybe counseling sessions, then go apply for a weapon. They do the background check thoroughly, efficiently, and then you're issued a weapon upon completion of the therapy situation excuse me, the therapy situation, and that's that. So do we need to have this going on? Just asking you guys. Just curious.
Did you know you can receive
Sorry about
free
that.
cell phones?
I'm negotiating. Y'all know I don't like use computers much, so therefore, what are the guidelines? Questionnaire, evaluation by a therapist, several therapy sessions, and then that person takes those legal documents to a gun store. How should it go down? And should there be what legal age to purchase these weapons? Let's go there. 18, 25, what? What are we talking about? 25 perhaps? I don't know why this is not doing what I want. Sorry about that. I'm trying to negotiate and talk at the same time and it's not working out. Okay, thank you. So I brought you commentary from MSNBC of the young lady released from the hospital. Prayers for Maya. I brought you information from the state of Texas by KXAN that the Uvalde shooter didn't want to live. Who's responsible for letting this go on and not notify authorities? State legislation, what's going to change? Mental evaluations before purchasing a gun. Several therapy sessions. But then the gun store has to be able to validate those documents as well. So you'd have to have some type of seal on it to prove that they're real. See, it's always going to be something. And the parents, the grandparents, where does the fault lie with them? That they allowed this person to stay in their home, the shooter, not going to school, only working, saving this money to buy these weapons, wanting to get them illegal. They told him no. The fact that they said, oh, we found out about this and this, you can't stay here, they can't be in here. But he had the gun, so where was it all this time? So he had to have had it inside the house. So what do you say? Can't stay here if you got a weapon. But he was staying there. As far as we know, he was staying there. And that means he bought the weapon from a store and ammunition back to that location. In his room somewhere, I'm assuming. And this was a short time span, so they were there. He kept this artillery ammunition in this woman's house with her husband or whomever. So what is their responsibility? To just allow this person, son, grandson, to be walking around talking crazy, talking about suicide, don't want to live. Other people saying he was saying it. Other people on social media saying he was saying things. And yet nobody decided to call authorities to say, hey, somebody needs to check up on this kid. Hey, this kid needs some help. Hey, he might need to be in the hospital for a while. And we also know that they don't keep you long, even if you're claiming to kill yourself, you're suicidal, homicidal. They just don't keep you. And this is what, like a cop said to me last week, you literally have to do something wrong in order for police to get involved in any type of crime. It's just the way it is. And by then, it's too late. It's too late. Next commentary. Pertaining to Uvalde is the governor. Governor Greg Abbott on his response to Uvalde school shooting. KHOU 11 News is the source. Let's see what he has to say. Many people have a problem that he didn't lead the campaign. So I'm going to bring you more commentary about that too. Thank you for joining me these everyday shenanigans. If you'd like to donate to this network, $BeGanji129 Cash App. Thank you so much for joining me.
You're the guy with the gun, the person who would do anything to protect the ones you love. But did you know you could go to jail for simply doing the right thing to keep your family safe?
Yeah.
Don't.
How convenient a gun
CNN is
ad.
reporting Governor Greg Abbott stayed at a campaign
Mercy.
fundraiser for hours after being notified of the Uvalde shooting.
Through campaign finance reports and flight tracking records, CNN found the governor arrived in Huntsville just before 5 o'clock and stayed there for about 3 hours. The governor visited Uvalde the very next day, where he praised law enforcement for their bravery. He has since walked back those statements in the days after the shooting, saying he was misled. Moments ago in Uvalde, the governor explained why he stayed at the campaign event.
Then I was in contact constantly with either my office or with the Texas Department of Public Safety, making sure we were getting all the information that needed to be obtained. And then importantly, I completely shut down my campaign altogether and did nothing but focus on the people of Uvalde. And in fact, I've been in Uvalde every single month since the tragedy took place, including right now, where I continue to work with the people of Uvalde, responding to their needs.
Okay, there we have it.
CNN is reporting Governor Greg.
The last thing before we go tonight, Maya Strong.
Thank you all
There's
so
still
much
so much
for
we
this
do not know
information.
about the Uvalde school shooting and delayed response.
Okay, so now we have that said information. Go back to the community board. How do you all feel that he didn't shut down or let's say leave the campaign once he got the information that there was a shooting? How about that? How do you all feel about that? Was he in the wrong? Was he in the wrong for not leaving campaign? He said eventually he did shut it down. So was he wrong? Should he have immediately got on a plane and flown to Uvalde? Well, we also know that when Bush was in office and he was at a schoolhouse with some children, he got news of a plane going into a building. So he didn't immediately jump on a plane and fly to New York. Okay, some may say, is there a big difference? I don't know. It's up to you, your interpretation. So we're talking about a president. And this is a national situation of a plane. Then a plane number 2. He still didn't fly to New York. Naturally, his safety was more important because at this point we have the national government putting 2 and 2 together. Something is amiss. And we've got to safeguard our president. So he ain't getting ready to fly anywhere. But you understand the premise. The president didn't go run to New York when the planes were flying to the building. This governor did not immediately go to the said city, town. Should he have? You're entitled to your opinion. I'm not saying anything. I'm just bringing you the information in this said commentary. KHOU 11 is the source for that information. My next source is pertaining to some benches that were made for the Uvalde victims. Handmade benches. Very warm, thoughtful gesture. Good Morning America is the source. Thank you all so much for joining me.
Meet the new secret weapon of Redken's acidic bonding concentrate. Our new intensive.
Sorry about that, commercials. Thank you all so much for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. Let's see what they have to say here.
Very beautiful gift, honoring their special, beautiful children.
Sean Peacock made these benches. Kudos to you, sir. One of the teachers.
I didn't want to. I didn't want to cry. Any more than I'm already crying. Now this mama reaches out, wants to know, can I customize this bench for the loss of a child? Here's the photo, here's the inscription. Here's the date,
pretty little girl.
Discount.
Very pretty.
Her inscription talked about butterflies. And lo and behold, number 1 on the list was McKenna Lee Elrod, with the same name that that mama requested. And so when I discovered that, that was the beginning of it all. I just made a post, and out of the blue, somebody decided I wanted to donate. And I don't think this is just random. I think there's more to this